microphone that you can use, and it doesn't just have to be this one that I will show you. It can be any other microphone, and they'll work a lot of the same way. Some microphones use different adapters that you can use, but this is a very simple and very easy to use microphone, which is why I want to show you guys how to use it. It's called a snowball microphone, and mainly that just means that it looks a lot like a snowball. It's round and it has the speakers on this side and this side, so it doesn't matter which way you're facing when you're speaking into the microphone. And a big thing to note is the reason that you would want to use a microphone during your podcasting would be to have a better sound quality. The better the sound quality, the better your message will be portrayed to your audience. So during this video, I'll show you the different ins and outs of this specific microphone, as well as just highlighting some things that I think are very good to know about podcasting and the certain equipment that come with it. Next, I'm going to show you guys what all comes with this specific snowball microphone. So with the snowball microphone, you'll be getting a USB cable that will plug not only into this but into a USB port onto your laptop, so you can directly record any feedback or sound that goes into this microphone will then be recorded onto your computer. I will just be showing you guys how this process works and what it would look like for you guys to do this. This is just a stand that the microphone comes with so that you don't have to touch it and mess with the sound at all. And also it can be set in the middle of a table. Say you're having a bunch of people talk at one time, you can set this in and it will pick up all the sounds. Before I show you guys the process of this microphone, I do want to note though that if you do watch people do podcasting, sometimes their setup might look a little different than the one that you use because they have better funding, they have better means of like recording sound. So for y'all's case, that I think that one microphone will be. So the downside of using only one microphone would be that, say I'm having a conversation and I'm recording a conversation with two different people, and I'm sitting this far away from the mic and they're sitting a lot farther than me. If I was using two different mics that they had and I also had, I could bring up their sound levels and bring down my sound levels so that it sounds a lot like we're literally sitting next to each other, and not one voice is louder than the other. But like I said, I don't think that for y'all's case that will necessarily be something that y'all need to worry about. But of course, before you post any episode or before you edit anything, or while you're in the editing process, just make sure the sound doesn't sound too blown out. Because you always want to make sure the sound quality is good, because you want to make sure that your message is going to be able to get across and people aren't just be like, oh, I can't really hear them, or I'm having trouble hearing what that person is saying when they speak. I can hear when that person speaks. So just making sure you're speaking really clearly. And in the sample podcast that I will have, the sound will maybe sound a little different because I will be doing a phone interview. And that also just adds a layer to a podcast. But I do want to note that sometimes different podcasts have different requirements, I guess. There are some podcasts that people, like successful podcasts, that people literally record. He records a media, or not media, excuse me, a marketing podcast, and he uses his AirPods. He puts in his AirPods and he walks down the street. So you hear like buses pass and cars honk and people talking, but that adds to his level of user experience. They feel like they are walking to the subway with him, or walking into work. But sometimes people like podcasts that sound like that they're in a studio, because sometimes people like really, really crisp, clear audio. But it just depends on really the experience you want for your users. And I would encourage a better sound quality, just because I feel like it eliminates the area that's like I'm not sure if my message is getting across. I don't know if my audience really understands what I want from them. It just eliminates that. It's a very clear channel, and you can really hear like crisp audio. You can hear everything and you totally understand everything. Alrighty, here is the microphone set up. You plug it into the back of the microphone right there, and just have it at a safe distance from your voice. You don't want to be screaming into the microphone or anything like that. That red light indicates that it is on. Already it is plugged up right there through USB, and I have voice memos up. This is what you can be using to record audio. I'm going to show you guys and play back for you the audio that I use and I'm recording from using the Snowball microphone. Alrighty, so I'll first play the audio without the microphone. So I was not using the microphone to record this. And here I will show you how that sounds. Test, 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 test. Alrighty, and then here I will show you how it sounds with that microphone. You'll hear an incredible difference. Test, 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 test. Alrighty, and you can hear the difference. Test, 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 test. I hope you were able to hear the difference between the two audios. Using the Snowball microphone just has a very crisp audio sound. It eliminates any other feedback you may get. And also, even though our laptops are awesome and they can do so much, they just don't have the best audio quality. But like I said, it doesn't necessarily matter. It just matters if you think that it will inhibit your audience from getting the message that you're trying to get across. Because when it comes down to it, really a podcast, its main goal should be getting the audience to understand the message that they're trying to get across. And by using certain microphones or mixers, you can better, or your audience can better receive the message, but it doesn't necessarily make it to where they're like, oh, I totally understand now. It does have to, it also depends on, the way you're speaking and what you're saying. I think for y'all's purposes, using one microphone will be totally awesome, and it would increase the quality of the overall podcast and of the sound. Alrighty, I wanted to show you guys, as well as just showing you the microphone and how to use that, how to plug it up, and the differences between the audios. I also wanted to show you a couple different things. Podbean is a great website to use for podcast publishing, as well as they also just have videos on how to get started in podcasting, or like just different educational videos about podcasting themselves. I wanted to show you that you can publish your podcast and host it through Podbean. So that just means it'll post to various different platforms for you, and you'll be the sole creator for that. This is a very good tool. You can also get it on your phone. This is not just a website. They have a lot of different things about, the pricing, because this does, like some of the things that you can do with this cost money, but there's also a zero. I wanted to show you guys that this one is always free. It's a podcast starter. I think this would be very, very helpful for you guys. Another website I wanted to show you is SoundCloud. So say y'all don't want to put up your podcast on a lot of different platforms, but you just want to start with one, I would highly suggest using SoundCloud. It's very easy to use, user-friendly, and this actually is an example of 3 different episodes that I created for one of my class projects a couple semesters ago. It was called Unsolved University. It's basically a true crime type investigative journalism, where I was able to use the podcasting equipment that we have on campus already set up, and I had guests on there, and it gives you like a chance to put like your little header and your cover art for your podcast, as long as just like some things about it. It also gives you the chance or opportunity to do it in albums or playlists. You can also look at it through like your popular tracks, so you can do like your kind of like your analytics as well, see which ones are popular, if they take off. This is just a very good website to use when starting out. So in conclusion, I hope you have now a better understanding of how to use a microphone. If anything, just getting more educated on what exactly a microphone can do for the quality of sound and for the quality of the overall podcast. Alrighty, some of the biggest takeaways from this presentation is just the fact that the biggest thing about podcasting is just making sure you have a message that your audience wants to receive. It doesn't matter the sound quality. It doesn't really matter if you have like some incredible studio set up. As long as you're getting the message out to your audience, that's really all that they're going to care about. And I think you guys have such an incredible message to get out to the world. And I think that your audience will definitely understand that. So all in all, I hope that you learned a lot from this presentation and the example podcast that I'll be sending out to you guys. If you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm always willing to communicate and collaborate with you guys. It's been such an experience working with you guys, and I wish I could have worked with you a lot closer since everything has happened, but I hope you guys are staying safe and enjoying this kind of break from reality in a way. But thank you guys so much for everything.